Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of our November color along. I'm sad. This is a brand new pencil and it's little. Let's see if I can find like a normal sized pencil to compare it to. Yeah, I'm not happy. This is at least how many times I tried sharpening it. I'm sure there's more that I couldn't find, but I'm kind of mad. I don't know if I have another Parma Violet pencil if we need it, so we might have to improvise depending on if this thing wants to stay sharpened. I did manage to sharpen it with my makeup sharpener, which kind of makes it quite a bit smaller, but if it works, I won't complain. So we have been working in Midnight Masquerade by Hanna Karlzon, or Tales from the Midnight Masquerade. And we have been working on the Queen of Spades. She turned out a little bit different than she did in my mind so far. I do really like her. I just feel like the green is just a bit too much. I'm really wishing that I would have kept the cards gray. And then maybe the crown gray as well. I think that definitely would have helped. But I mean, it is what it is. It's looking really good so far anyways. And I'm hoping once we get the skin colored, it will really break that up and maybe not look so green, but we'll see. And alongside me saying that there's too much green, we're also adding green eyeshadows. So there's that. So I think for this part, it's mostly just going to be Prismacolors because that's what I'm using for the skin. And then pastels for the background. And I think that's pretty much it. Any last final details, maybe some stickles, that kind of thing. So I don't expect this part to take too long. But at the same time, we have as long as we need, so that's going to be nice. I'm just going to zoom in quite a bit here, just so we have all the skin in frame, because that's where we're going to start. And I do have a couple pieces of paper in behind this page. And with that being said, I think we are going to dive on in with the Parma Violet and just pray to the colored pencil gods that it works for us. All right, let's start on the ear. We're going to add a little bit of shading here. So our Parma Violet is our shadow color. I do kind of want to frame her face. I'm not worried about these little things. They're going to be black, these dots, and then her crazy wild eyelashes. Those are also going to be black. So I'm going to use a Posca pen to go over those. If you don't have a Posca pen or like a fine liner, try to avoid them. So we're just adding a shadow to everywhere that's going to have a shadow, I suppose, if that makes sense. I do want to add like a little bit of a nose here. I'm not quite sure how I want to go about this, but that's all I got so far. Oh my goodness, please no. Okay, good. There's a fly in my art room and it's been it like hit me in the face when I was recording earlier. I didn't say anything though, so you guys didn't know. Okay, there's 2 of them in here actually. But yeah, they're dumb because they're by the window and the window's cold, so they're like a little bit like partly frozen maybe. They're cold, so they get kind of dumb when they're cold. So it like flew right into my face, and I heard it just like bzzz, and it sounded like it came from my coffee cup, and I was like, oh my god, if a fly flew in there, I'm gonna be so mad, because I picked this coffee up from Sev because I'm weird. I don't drink real coffee. I only drink cappuccinos, you know, the fancy coffee. And I can't go back to Sev to get a new one, so I was about to be real mad, but it's in the window still. It just sounded like it came from my cup. But my cup is fly free, so we're good. I'm gonna create like maybe like a little triangle here for this side of her nose. This side just kind of comes up further. I've got some shadow around her eyes a little bit, maybe. I don't know. We're just winging it at this point because I have no idea. It's fine if she ends up looking crazy because she's got green hair and she's queen, so she can look as crazy as she wants. This is not working though, this little tiny tip on this pencil. I'm not a fan. I gotta try and fix this. Please work. Ah, yes, okay. We're gonna be real gentle with this guy. I'm gonna have this part by her eye quite shadowed. So I want it to kind of like indent, like our cheeks kind of go in towards our eyes and then back out around our foreheads. So I just want to kind of create that kind of look. I'm going to do the same here. We'll create like a line that kind of comes down like this. This is going to be our chin shadow. We're going to fade that out a little bit. And I just want to add a lot of the Parma Violet here without using pressure. I just want to add a lot of layers. Because we want under her chin to be much darker than the shadow around her chin. We'll also maybe darken up down here a little bit. Just kind of like deeper into the collar. I'm not going to darken up the shadows around the open kind of part of her face. By open, I mean like this area where there's like nothing in front or like really beside it. It's going to be pretty light. I do want to fade these shadows out really nicely though. So kind of work on that a little bit. I want to shadow underneath her lips. Definitely around her nose, inside her nostrils. maybe beside her nose this way a little bit. Not sure which way the light's going exactly. Most of our shadows and highlights are like a center light, but we're going to make it look like the light's coming in on this way for her nose. Just because that will allow us to add a little bit of extra detail to make her nose stand out a little bit. Or not so much stand out, but give it a little bit more character. I'm going to darken up this shadow around her eyes here. Same on this side. And then pretty much all of the shadows around here are going to be a little bit darker. See, these shadows definitely don't match up because with the shadow I have on this side, the light's coming from this way. The shadow on her nose, the light's coming from this way. Don't care, it's fine. But I just want to point that out to you guys so that way you guys know. So I have a lot of people that always ask how I figure out where to put shadows. And I always say that it doesn't overly matter too much as long as you have them. Because even with these shadows not matching up, unless you're really looking for it, you don't notice. But it's going to add a lot to the page. Realistically, I would like to have, like normally I'll decide where my shadows are coming from before I even start a page, and then I'll base everything off of those shadows. I'll have like the odd thing that maybe doesn't follow where the light source is coming from just because I want it to look a certain way. But for this page, I'm not too worried at all. Darken up underneath her eyebrows here. I think that looks pretty good for shadows. I don't want her to be too dark, so I think we're gonna leave it there. I might just add a little bit extra color up at the very top here. So I want these curls in her hair to look really voluminous. I don't know how to say that, but voluptuous, maybe. I don't know. I want them to look big. See the shadow out, basically just like around the whole area. Yep, that looks good. I like that. Okay, so that is probably it for the Parma Violet, but no promises. So let's come in with our nectar. We're going to start on her ear here. We're just going to lightly start blending into the Parma Violet. I'm going to just lightly fade that out. There's only going to be a little bit of a highlight here. Her ear is really tiny, but I don't want it to look super dark either. So I'm going to add the peach here, or even the light peach, and like blend everything in with it just so it doesn't look too crazy. Okay, and then we'll start up here. So I'm just going to lightly add in the nectar, and then we will just keep layering and adding pressure until we get a smooth look. I did go ahead and sharpen all of my pencils beforehand. That is how I knew we were going to have a struggle with the Parma Violet. Okay, I think I want her shadows fairly dark. I want to have a lot of contrast on her face to kind of pull away from everything else. So I am going to go ahead and kind of burnish in the very deepest parts of the shadows and then just lightly fade it out, lighten up my pressure. As we get away from those shadows, I'm going to lightly go over everything here. So basically we want our shadows very shadowy, but we want our skin light. If at all possible, we shall see. I like how this is looking so far. I don't want to go too dark around her eyes here, so I'm just gonna very lightly kind of go over these shadows. We're not going to darken up really, or we're not going to burnish, I should say. Just want to go really light in here. Same with around her cheeks here. Let's just lightly go over these because I do want to add some blush maybe. Maybe not so much blush, but I do want to add some warmth to her cheeks for sure. I'm going to go in over our shadows here for the nose. We'll kind of neutralize the Parma Violet and fade out from it. Maybe give her a little bit of shadow here, a little bit at the bottom of her nose. We can go in and just completely color in her nostrils. The whole bottom part of her face, I'm just going to lightly go over the Parma Violet and fade it out. I'm not going to start burnishing our shadows quite yet. So that'll just make it so it's a little bit easier to blend into our blush and eyeshadow. So we're gonna leave it here for now. Let's go in with the peach. And we're gonna bring this out from here. Totally forgot about there, so we're just gonna lightly color this in. This side of her face is gonna be a little bit more in shadow because her face is turned, so you can see more of her face this way than this way because her face is kind of turned towards this way. So we want this side of her face to be lighter, this side to be a little bit darker. So I'm gonna fade out with the peach here. We're gonna go over. We're gonna fade out in this area because we want this area to be quite a bit lighter. And then we'll come in with our light peach. And we'll just lightly base the rest of that. And then from there, let's come in with our mulberry. It's right around the corner of her eye here. We're gonna fade it out right around here. and then the hot pink is going to just go lightly over top of that, and we're going to fade out from there. Kind of just like this. Okay, and then we can add our eye makeup. So we're going to start with the dark green kind of in the corners here. We're just lightly fading this out a little bit. So I'm kind of doing kind of like a winged kind of look with the eyeshadow, but very light because I am scared. And then we're just going to fade out from that with the spring green. We can bring that towards the corner of her eye a little bit more. Just gonna see how that looks before we go any further. I really like that. So what we're gonna do is we are going to start burnishing around her eye with the spring green, because we don't want to come in with our skin color because it will knock it back too much. So we're going to go in and burnish kind of like that cat eye area, and then we are just going to gently fade this out so that way it can blend into the skin color. We're going to do that on both eyes. Oh, she looks so badass. I love it. Okay, so now I am comfortable enough in going back in with our nectar, and then we can keep working on the shadows. There we go. Almost dropped it. Said oops just in case. Okay, I'm still gonna just keep lightly in with the nectar on these parts because I don't want them too dark. I want to kind of come in and like knock it back with the peach a little bit. I like that. We might as well do the neck too. Let's go ahead with that. So just gonna lightly build up this color, but for the most part, all of these shadow areas down here are going to be burnished with the nectar and then faded out into the light peach. But you don't just want to go in full force and start burnishing because then it won't look as smooth. You just want to keep adding to it. Gently adding that pressure. See, I'm way better at explaining with the Prismacolors because I actually know what I'm doing. With the polys, you guys are probably just kind of like on your own, and I'm sorry. I tried. I could pretend I know what I'm doing, but I really don't. I can tell you what I'm doing with them, but I can't tell you why like I can with the Prismacolors, because I actually have experience with these, so I kind of know already what they do. The polys are like watercolors. They're just, it's up in the air. Who knows? I don't. Again, since this side of her face is shadowed, this side of her neck, we're gonna bring this shadow out a little ways and fade out. I'm just gonna keep adding to the shadow up here, making sure it fades out nicely. This one can stay a little bit lighter, but we're still going to make sure that it fades out nice as well. Okay, I like that. We're probably good for the nectar. Let's see what my boss lady says. Okay, Peach is next. So I think pretty much all of her forehead here is just going to be burnished. So gently going in, slowly increasing the pressure, small circles. I'm liking how her skin tone's going. She is darker than this one, but her skin's not super, super dark where it's making everything else look darker. So I didn't want this too light because it'll make everything else look darker. And then if it's too dark, then it will just kind of blend in with everything and it'll all be just a dark mess. We need that contrast. It needs to be both. Once we're coming out from the shadows, we're going to go back to a lighter pressure to kind of build up our layers. Cat hair. Go ahead and fully burnish her ear. I'm going to bring the peach up to the eye makeup, but I'm not going to burnish it. I want to burnish it with the light peach, that way it's a little bit lighter. I want there to be a highlight on this side of her nose, so we're going to kind of leave that area alone. Not quite sure how to color her nose, but I think that looks okay with leaving kind of like the outer areas as highlights. Having the rest kind of dark maybe. Let's make sure we've got a nice fade going into kind of like the apples of her cheeks here, I guess. A little bit on this side too. I like that up there. I think everything else we will blend with the light peach. And we'll just come and work on down here. Lightly go over this whole area. I want it to be a little bit lighter, but I don't want it to be too light. Make sure to bring this down quite a bit from that shadow on her neck, and then over a little bit from the shadow over here. It's basically just like this little circle area here will be our highlight. All right, let's go in with our light peach. We are just going to smooth over pretty much everything. Most of the stuff is burnished already, but I'm just going to go over one last time just to make sure. Just gonna lightly bring this into the makeup area, but I'm not gonna go over it completely. We'll lightly start adding that light peach in here and build it up. Oh no. My pencil extender doesn't quite grasp onto this one, so I have to color it at an angle, otherwise it pushes back in. It turtles. All right, she looks awesome. I think the skin definitely helps break up the greens. I actually really like that. We're going to grab, should we yet? Maybe not. Let's see, I want something to kind of make her eyes. I think we did something with her eyes here. I'm not too sure. Let's grab the nectar. And we're just going to color in these little parts of her eye. And then, let's see, I want maybe like the 20% cool gray. And then let's just go like around the eye. Give it a little bit of a shadow and then fade it in. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so we're gonna be working mostly on the outside with pastels. I think we can add our highlights and like stuff on the inside. I think that'll be fine. I'm gonna grab a green fine liner and I'm just gonna add just a few lines in the center. It's hardly noticeable, but it did make a difference. Going to grab my Uniball Signo Broad. Since I just put fine liner over here, I'm just going to kind of dab at this to create kind of like a shine here. Maybe do a small one there too. I think that looks okay. All right, now with the black, should we? I wonder if we should do these little circles on her eyes, white or black. I'm gonna outline her entire eye with the black. I think I can put the white over the black, but I don't think I can put the black over the white. So let's start them off with black and see what they look like. And if we don't like them, then we'll just turn them white later on after they've dried. A couple small dots there. Just a few. of like them black. I want to see what they look like when I add white, but at the same time, I don't want to mess it up. It looks so good. And actually now it really draws in with the cards. So I do really like that. I want to make her eyeshadow look a little bit sparkly, so I'm just gonna add some green dots to it with this. So just a little bit of green fine liner, and then the Uniball Signal Broad is a little bit too big for adding like little delicate sparkles like this. So I'm just going to use a Jelly Roll. Does this say the size? Jelly Roll 8? I don't know. I'm just going to tap this along as well. I don't know if it's making much of a difference. Maybe not. Let's, okay, we'll scratch that. I'm gonna use my Posca pen. I'm gonna be really careful not to get any white on top of the black eyelashes. There we go. Just makes her eye makeup pop a little bit more. Okay, I love that. Okay. We're gonna try this on just one. One side. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide, but I actually really like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna keep the ones down here just black though, I think. All right, and with that, we are ready to, I gotta fix these highlights, they're bothering me. We are ready to grab our pastels. Yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, I keep my pastels in a very inconvenient place, so I had to Tetris them out of there. I don't think I have swatches done with them. I planned to, but I haven't. Wow. Okay, I did not have them in an inconvenient place. I keep them in a Prismacolor box, but this is actually my spare Prismas. Oops. Okay, I keep them in a less inconvenient place. I've got them now. I don't really know what colors I want to do for her. I'm thinking purple and green. Or purple and blue, maybe? Not green, purple and blue. Because I want to kind of tie it into this page somehow. Let's go ahead and zoom on out here because otherwise I'll forget. That would not be good. Okay, so I want to tie them into this page a little bit. I mean, black and blue might be kind of cool too. I just don't know. No, we can't do black. Okay, for her, we took the blue kind of from her collar and her eyes. Those were the only things that were blue on the page. So that's why I did that for the background, because it wouldn't be too overwhelming. However, we have green and black, and just green and black. A lot of green, less black. It might be, I think black and purple might be the only way to go. Bring out the color wheel here. Okay, we got green. I'm not adding red, but split complementary, we could do purple. It would look okay. I think the blue would be fine. You could do like a blue green and a blue violet. I think would look okay, and then it would tie it in with this page a little bit at least. So that's kind of following the tetrad colors, just not on the left side, because I'm not adding those colors. So blue, green, and blue, violet. We'll go with that. I think that'll be okay. So I want maybe like a darker blue violet. Is that dark enough? It might be. Our other option is this one. I think the darker the better. Let's go with that one. And then for the blue-green, go a little bit lighter with this one. Okay, so I have the Artist Lock pencil pastels. I think this one goes with that one. Hopefully. I don't know. It'll work. I've never used this one, so I guess we'll grab a clean one here for that one. And then I've got my blade here. So you could use any kind of pastels. I'm actually looking into some other pastels on Amazon for the future. Nothing quite yet. I'm gonna start with this color because it's a little bit lighter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my knife and I'm just going to scrape the pastel onto this little container here. Probably good for now. Okay, so using my makeup sponge, I'm just going to lightly kind of blush it around the edges. I don't want to go too close yet, but I do want to work out some areas where this color is going to be. Maybe like up here, maybe a little bit here. I like that. We're gonna grab Q-tips. So this is a bit tedious, but it's worth it because I don't want to get pastel over top of the color. Because otherwise it will kind of gray it out almost. It's not good either way, so. So with the Q-tip, we can kind of create some darker spots. Which I'm going to do. Okay, I think that's probably good for this one for now. I'm going to keep this dust just in case I need it, but I'm just gonna run it into the edges. That's one of the things that I like about using, I think this is like a sour cream. It's a sour cream container. Or lid, I guess, sour cream lid. So I'm just gonna do the same thing with this purple color. I think I definitely put too much off for the blue, so I'm just gonna go small with the purple for now. Ooh, I like it. Just gonna kind of try and blend it into the blue a little bit here. Like blend it in like random places. I definitely want to blend some in a little bit here because that's where I did those like little scrapey bits. Okay, I like that. So clean Q-tip. I'm going to pull some of the blue in alongside the purple to kind of mix them together. Just like that. Let's throw some blue in here and kind of mix them in together. I'm gonna very carefully try and make this purple without, oops, went over the gold. Ah, Q-tip's too big for that spot. Okay, so that's a good start. Pastel dust is not very good for you, so if you can go and blow this outside, get the rest of the excess stuff off outside or in like a well-ventilated room, I highly recommend doing so. I will be right back. Alright, I am back. I'm just going to take the clean side of my purple sponge and just kind of rub these colors together a little bit more, smooth them out. All right, and then if you're like me, you probably touched your page, our fingers have oil on them, and then the pastel really picks up on that. So this is gonna be a spot. So I'm gonna use my Derwent Inktense eraser. You can use whatever eraser you have available to you. I also have this Mononoke Tombow. It's a 3.8 millimeter eraser. You can do something like that. But I'm gonna use my Derwent eraser just because it's a little bit quicker and easier for me. So I'm just gonna create little dots all around here. And I'm going to bring back the edges of the pastel a little bit too. I wanna make it look like really whimsical and interesting looking. So I'm just kind of doing this randomly. Like little dots almost like coming into the paper. We're just going to keep working away at this until we're happy with it. Just to preserve my eraser, I'm just going to switch to this one for kind of figuring out where our background kind of stops. It's okay if it looks messy because that'll give it kind of like an organic look to it. kind of want it to dip in around the cards here and then come back out maybe like around here. Up here, we're actually going to have this kind of do the same thing, I think. Yeah, that looks good. Let's see if I have any results for this. Okay, I like the looks of that. That's cute, I like that. Let's make another one right here. Okay, I like that. So we're just going to take a clean end of a Q-tip and we're just going to kind of blur the edges. Just as much as we can. It's a little bit messy, but I think that actually kind of adds to it. I think that's the background done. I really like that. There's people outside my house and I don't know what they're doing. Okay, so now I think all that's left is to add stipples, and then I think she's pretty much done. I don't really think there's anything else that I would really add. Oh, I think they're doing a scavenger hunt. All right, so I do think I'm going to go with like a green stickles. You could also use clear or... Actually, oh, let's do purple. Oh, I don't have purple. I've got these purple ones. They're kind of like a pinkish purple almost. They'll have to work. They'll have to do. That's how we'll add our purple in here. So you can use any kind of purple glitter that you have, or even any kind of clear glitter. It doesn't have to be purple. Am I zoomed out all the way? Pretty much. Okay, so we're gonna add them to the spades for sure. Ooh, that's clogged, or it just doesn't want to work. I'm not sure which. Just cleaned it out with a push pin. We'll see if that did anything. They're very thick. Ooh, I don't like that. Okay. I'm gonna squeeze some out on a piece of paper and then use a Q-tip to apply them, I think, because I don't know how else to do that. I'm not trusting this thing. Yeah, they're more pink than purple, unfortunately. You know what? I'm just going to go with clear ones. These ones are just going to be for looks. It'll make my collection look bigger, but I'll probably never use them. Let's go back to the green, actually. This is like a greeny blue, so it'll tie in with this one, maybe. Yeah, that's better. Does this one have a name? No, it just says Ranger. Most of our stickles in Canada, I don't know why, but they don't come with names. I have, I think, 3 with names. I actually think they were 3 that I got off of Amazon, so they probably came from the US. Okay, so I like to just add sparkle to the images rather than putting like a whole layer of stickles like I've seen some people do. I don't like doing that because then it's a little bit too chunky. I add like a tiny little bit of sparkles to these gems. What's this one too? Bit too much on that one. pull some of those off. There we go. Okay, so we have the hearts on her face sparkled. I want to sparkle up these dots a little bit then. Yep, just like that. Okay, and then we'll sparkle up the spade here. So we'll do the gems, the little dots on her face, and then the spades. And I think it'll probably be, I don't want to add too much because on the other page we just did hearts. I could have done all of the spades, but that one we did gold, so I don't really want to sparkle that. Just gonna add some stickles on here and then, oops, go over with the Q-tip, that's what they're called. So I want to get rid of some, it's too much. I think she's done. I think she turned out awesome, actually. I think that little bit of purple really helped break everything up a little bit. I think the only thing that I will do is once the stickles dry, I might go back in and re-add them to the gems because the stickles kind of took away the white. So I'll have to go back in with a Posca pen for that, unfortunately. But I think over top of the stickles, the Posca will probably work better. I think that is most likely the only thing that I'm actually going to do, though. I think everything else looks good. I like the way it looks. They look so great beside each other. I'm not even mad that she's all green anymore. I think she looks great. And those eyes. So pretty. So we get lots of sparkles in here. Love that. She looks so good. I think she is done, and this is it for our November color along. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna let her dry, take some pictures, get editing, have her up by Friday for our rainbow members, and the rest of you will have access to her on the first Friday of November. Super excited. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. If you guys have followed along, I would love to see your recreations of this, so you can use the hashtag #DreamInColorAlong, and I usually search it up a couple times a month to see if anybody's used the hashtag, and it's just an easier way that I can see your pictures. You can also just tag me if that's easier for you. That's totally fine. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I can't wait to see your guys' recreations of this. I think that's pretty much it. So as always, take care, and hopefully I will see you next time. All right, guys. Bye.